Okay, so now I'm going to talk you through the process of creating a portrait with one light. So a simple one light portraiting using off-camera flash. So it's quite a simple process that I follow, and I'm going to talk you through it now. So my first step is I've got my camera, my trigger on my camera, I've got my light stand, my flash in a bracket, and I've got a simple umbrella which is going to soften the light for us. The first thing I always do in this type of situation is I get what I call an ambient exposure. So I take a couple of shots to make sure that I'm happy with how the ambient exposure is. The ambient exposure means the look of the shot without any flash. So using the available light, how do I want the background to look? The walls behind me are white, but I want actually to drop the exposure of those by a couple of stops so they look kind of a grayish tone. That means when we take our final shot with the flash will make the person that we're photographing stand out against a grey background. I can make that creative decision. I can decide to make the background very dark or very bright or a mid-tone or perfectly balanced with a flash. But for the purposes of what I'm doing today, I'm going to make the background look a bit grey, a couple of stops underexposed. So I could use a light meter, but I'm going to work with my camera in manual mode, and I'm going to take a couple of test shots without any flash, so the flash is not going to fire, and those settings will then stay in the camera. So the only thing really I need to remember is I need to stay below my flash sync speed. I can do high speed sync, I know that with certain flashes, but just to cover everything off, I want to make sure we all work below our flash sync speed, which usually is around 200 or 250th of a second. So I'm going to take a couple of shots just of what's going to be in the background of the shot to see how I want that to look, and then I'm going to then match my flash to that exposure to get the correct exposure. So I've got my camera in manual mode. I've kind of practiced this before, so I'm kind of in the right ballpark. So I'm just going to take a couple of shots. I'm going to adjust my settings until I'm happy with the look of the background in the shot. So just keep changing my settings, take a few test shots, no flash going off. Okay, and I've decided that I'm going to, for this, the light in this room, which is lit by some constant lights, I've decided to use f4, 100th of a second, and ISO 200. That is going to give me a decent exposure here. You may find that where you work it's darker or brighter, so you have different settings. I've chosen 100th of a second because it's going to let me hold my camera steady, and I know I've got flash to freeze motion, but it's going to make me feel secure that I am going to get a sharp shot. F4 because I want to have I want to throw the background out a little bit, and ISO 200 just to give me the right exposure. It's not too high in ISO, and it gives me the right exposure. So I'm showing you what this shot looks like now. You can see it's a little bit underexposed, but that's great because what I'm going to do now is take a photo of Natasha and work out what exposure I need the flash to be on. Okay, so Natasha is now in the shot, and I'm going to just do the same couple of shots without any flash just to show you what this shot looks like without any flash. Cool, okay. So yeah, you can see we have a couple of photos there. Everything looks a little bit underexposed. That's fine because I want the background to stay like that, but what I'm going to do now is introduce my flash to correctly light Natasha. The background won't change because it's not hitting the background, it's dropping off quite quickly, but the flash that I introduce will be purely to light Natasha. So I will bring my flash in. Okay, so the flash is essentially kind of above eye level, and it's approximately 30 degrees from Natasha, which is kind of a good place to start with the flash. There's no hard and fast, but putting it there I know is going to give me a good place to start. And I'm going to take my first test shot. I'm going to start with my flash on its lowest power settings. So I'm going to turn my trigger on now. Okay, make sure that I'm on the right group. Okay, and let's do a shot at, this flash goes down to 1/128th power. So I'll do one shot. So I've not changed any settings in my camera. All I'm doing now is test the flash, turning flash on its lowest setting to start with, and then I'll increase the flash power until I get an exposure I'm happy with. So, okay, so that's the first shot at 1/128th is really still not having much impact from the flash. I'm going to turn the flash up considerably. Let's go for 1/16. So that's quite a large increase in the power of the flash, and let's try that one again. Cool. Okay, and so you can see from that shot the exposure is good. Natasha is well lit by the flash. Some of the light has gone onto the background. It's gone a little bit brighter, but I'm quite happy with that flash exposure. It looks good. So I'm going to stick with 1/16 power on my flash and my camera settings as they are, and As you can see in that shot, some of the light has gone onto the background. I'm happy with that. If I wanted to make the background drop darker and remain as dark as it was in the last shot, I would move everything further away from the background. But in the next video, I'm going to show you where to position the lights to give you different looks.